I'm going to talk for a few minutes about an application I've been working on, specifically geared at microhydropower practitioners. I got the idea for this app last month when I was in the field with a colleague of mine. We were doing a very rudimentary flow study on a pretty large river in rural Myanmar. And at the time, we didn't have any of our equations or coefficients or anything with us on hand, and we hadn't carried a textbook, at least to the field, to the stream. And I felt a little constricting, the fact that we couldn't do any more detailed calculations or any more detailed assessment of the site while we were there, other than, let's say, the basic power equation or some very simple flow calculations. And around the same time, I was introduced to this application called Pocket Physics, which I'm opening right now. Pocket Physics is a very, I think, appealing layout, basically just a reference application where you have one main view and then some very simple subviews here. So if I click on something like constant circular motion, it opens up with a page that shows, basic definitions, some graphs, some equations. And I just thought this concept would be very convenient or very useful to apply to microhydropower practitioners, especially because we do work with a lot of, let's say, universal equations, whether you're in the workshop designing a turbine or whether you're in the field looking at the flow or the head of a site. We're always referencing some very basic equations, and sometimes it's not convenient to keep those all in your head. So with that same concept, I created, I guess, kind of an analog to that Pocket Physics, what I'm calling Pocket Microhydro. What you see here is basically the same thing. At the top I have this little slider menu, which is showing various chapters that microhydropower practitioners might be interested in. This one that we're selecting on right now is civil engineering, so I just have it as an example, sizing of a penstock. So you can see displaying some text, displaying some, in this case, the energy equation, which is a pretty straightforward equation, but it also shows the complexity of what we can do displaying equations. And then, just a simple image to orient us a little bit. This would all be changed, I think, even simplified. I would say less text, more equations, and more images. But yeah, as a working concept, this is kind of the proof of concept a little bit. But just to show you, here's another example, like a flow survey. So again, some equations, some images. But basically, what I'm trying to do with this app is to, I guess, lower the bar to access of knowledge. So in Myanmar especially, even if you have a smartphone, access to quality and aggregated microhydropower information is restricted mostly to people who have the money and the resources to access, the standard textbooks or the seminal works, let's say, of microhydropower, like the Microhydropower Sourcebook or the Microhydro Design Manual. And I just thought we could lower that bar a little bit. Also, I think it's restricted to people who speak English. And so I thought, if we can develop a simple app with aggregated information and straightforward, very, very simplified interface and very simplified information, then it starts to make access to this technology easier, and hopefully it allows it to spread in a more grassroots manner. What I've done here specifically is to try to integrate this with a little translation feature. And this is not using internet. This app does not use internet at all. But in this case, if I click on this button in the top right-hand corner, you can see translate. And if I click on it, then you'll see several options. Here I just have some blank spacers, but at the top we have English, Burmese, and Bahasa. And so if I click on Burmese, it will turn black real quick, but then it will load up with all Burmese text. And this is not a very quality translation because I just got it from Google Translate, but I imagine as the development moves on, I will work with native Burmese speakers to actually get this more professionally translated. And we can see here, the exact same thing. It's saying the exact same information, just now translated very simply. And again, we can do the same thing in this case for Bahasa Indonesia, which is again also from Google Translate. But just as a demonstration, as a proof of concept, I think this gets the point across. And yeah, I guess I'm just hoping that this will allow more access to this really useful technology. And that's it. Thanks.